Hi again, everyone. I'm olliemathews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from Kristen. And Kristen sent in, I guess, an audio recording of her story. So it's two videos. Let's just get right into it.
Hi, Ollie. I've loved your recent work. I've been following you very closely. I'm a new subscriber, and I'm just so grateful for all of your coverage of this topic. So I wrote out my story that I wanted to submit as a contribution, but as you can see, it's really long and complicated. So I'm going to try to summarize it down into just a few minutes.
And I appreciate this. It is so much easier listening to your stories than reading them, because reading them just takes a toll on my voice.
I'll probably do this video in two parts. Part one would be not just early childhood, just like an overview of my childhood, and then part two will be what ended up happening between me and my narcissistic sister. So I grew up in a very Mormon area quite well.
First thing, since you're new, you should know there are a ton of Mormons on my channel, a ton of Jehovah's Witnesses on my channel, a ton of black women and black men on my channel. Like, for some reason, like, narcissism runs rampant in a lot. I mean, narcissism knows no bounds, knows no race, color, creed, economic background. But there are still I have tons of Mormon subscribers, tons of former JW, Jehovah's Witnesses, and then we know about, the queen bees. So right off the bat, I want to tell you, the Mormon thing, there's something to that in regards to narcissism.
Wealthy. My dad's a famous chef. He's also an alcoholic and, I believe, a narcissist. There was a lot of abuse and neglect, but before that happened, my mom and him got divorced when I was like 5. And at the time, it felt like they were treating it pretty amicably and trying to split in a fair way. But my mom also wanted to stick it to my dad and prove how independent that she could be, so she refused to take any money. So our time was split, and my mom was quite poor, but it was all out of pride to stick it to my dad. And that's the theme, is me and my older brother.
That's a different way to stick it to a guy after divorce, isn't to not take anything from him. Okay. Okay.
Biological sister, and we were weaponized. We were used endlessly to get back at each other post-divorce. There's 2 incidents that really stand out. And by the way, my dad, he kept marrying and marrying and marrying 5 times total. And each time it was a gold-digging, drug-addicted, inappropriately much younger than him stepmom. So I literally had several evil stepmoms.
And I'll tell you this, that speaks more to the restaurant industry than anything else, because anybody who's ever had anything to do with the restaurant industry knows the drug use, the alcoholism, the just the general feel of the caliber of the people. And look, there's plenty of good people who work in restaurants, plenty. But if you've worked in a restaurant, and if you've worked in the restaurant industry, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
So one incident I remember is, and this is important. Once my half-siblings came along, I took care of them. I nurtured them, because my stepmom would lock herself in her bedroom and take pain pills and read romance novels, and she wouldn't make food for us, and she would lock food away from me and my sister and only give it to her kids, my half-siblings. She would let them sit in poopy diapers. She wouldn't feed them. She wouldn't get them in the middle of the night when the baby was crying and needing milk. So my sister, but mostly me, we took all that on. We were forced into adult roles as kids.
Indentured servitude.
So one incident I remember with one of my stepmoms was, I was around 11.
And that's with one of my stepmoms. Jesus Christ. I mean, come on, man. And I'm assuming from the sound of your voice and what you're talking about, we're dealing with boomers again. We gotta be. We gotta be dealing with boomer parents. One of my stepmoms. There's no more child of a boomer statement that could be made than one of my stepmoms.
And I asked for my own hairdryer. I was starting to want to like groom myself to look nice for school and do my hair. And even though we were quite wealthy, we all shared a one bathroom house. And so they said no. My dad said, no, I'm not going to get you a hairdryer of your own. So then I went into the bathroom and used my stepmom's, treated it very carefully, put it back as soon as I was done. But when she noticed the cord looked kind of different, she stormed into my room and said, "You bitch, don't ever touch my fucking things again."
And that's a boomer, and that is a boomer woman right there. That is that was my mother too. Okay, she could have things, but you couldn't have them. You couldn't use them. You know, I've talked about my hair, my fucking journey with my hair and hair products, and me and my mother had identical hair. And my mother would use these leave-in conditioners and the stuff that made my hair look great. And she would not let me touch. She would just go and she would butcher my hair. She would try to cut my hair. It was just, and it was competition. I mean, it was just, my own mother was kind of, even though I was a boy and usually it's female on female, it's the same deal with your stepmothers and your hair dryers. It's all competition. It's mine, not yours. It's sad.
So those were the kind of women that my dad allowed, and
basically borderlines. That's what one borderline after the next.
able to abuse us, calling an 11-year-old a bitch. So all of them hated us. None of them wanted to be a parental figure. So my dad would drink a lot and yell at us at night and act oddly. Another incident I remember is he was drunk playing this weird hide and seek game. Like, he was drunk and grinning like a Cheshire cat, and he wanted to hide in a closet from one of my stepmoms. And so I'm like, okay.
The one of my stepmoms thing is just, and I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh because it's not funny. But it's funny in regards to how these people think and their mentality and their lives that they led. You know, when you step back and you're no contact and the fog lifts, you can actually laugh at the ridiculousness of these people's lives, because it's an absurd, it's preposterous. It's preposterous how they live. Bonus points. Anybody can tell me what that's from. It's preposterous. That's how they live.
Yeah, I went along with it. Then I asked him in the closet, like, why are we hiding? What is this game? And then he instantly hit me in the face. And that's the moment when everything changed for me, that it broke my heart. I realized, oh my gosh, he really did just hit me. So I asked him, why did you hit me? And he said, I don't like your attitude. So it's always been confusing. And my mom's...
And that's a boomer thing, and that's another boomer parent thing. They can hit you, they can yell at you for whatever arbitrary reason, any slight that they feel that you don't even understand what you did. But they decide.
She does have empathy towards me, but again, she also weaponized us against my dad. Another incident I remember with her, I mean, she was just career obsessed. That was like the main thing. So like the fact that I had insomnia and panic attacks and told her flat out that the stepmom was abusing us, my mom didn't say, okay, I'm going to protect you and take you out of that home. What she did do was she guilt tripped me into staying in the home anyway, because then my half siblings wouldn't have anyone, and what would that do to them? So I now resent her that she didn't protect her daughters from the abusers, and that she just kind of like, she talked to us about her feelings and like kind of pretend like she was helping. But now, as a mom of 3, I would absolutely protect my kids and take them out of a situation that was
right. And this is exactly the point I've been making with these estranged parents, trying to talk about their feelings and their wants and their emotions. That's been their whole life. That's been the boomer since their birth. It's been all about them and their feelings. And their children be damned. We were nothing but more than inconveniences to all of them.
that abusive. So at another incident, my mom would have these rage fits where she'd scream at us and say, how can you stress me out so bad? Don't you see I'm a single mom? Don't you see that I'm going back to school? I'm trying to make something in my life, and it's so selfish of you guys to be bickering. Like, whenever my sister and I would fight, she would just automatically say, we had no right to fight, just shut up, we're stressing her out too much.
So your father didn't just start dating and marrying borderlines after he got divorced from your mother. These stepmothers are more than likely just carbon copies of your mother with drug problems. That's all. It's the only difference.
We were at an amusement park. I'll never forget this one. Stands out in my mind as well. And I was 12, I believe. And you know how kids are at amusement parks. I was just happy and hyper, and we were standing in line. It was really hot. We were standing out in the sun, and everyone was kind of just like drained. But I started like jumping around because I'm like, I'm so excited to go on this ride. Yeah. And I was like dancing and stuff. And out of nowhere, she grabbed my head. She grabbed both of my ears and then shook my head violently and said, just stop, like that. So the day went on, and
You're not allowed to be a kid. You're not allowed to be a kid, and they love to publicly humiliate you. That's a twofer. That's a twofer. 2 for 1. 2 for 1.
My ear was ringing, and it kept hurting more and more and more. And finally I said, Mom, like, something's wrong with my ear. So we went to an urgent care. And begrudgingly, she almost acted like it was annoying that she had to deal with this. And the doctor examined me and told her, you broke your daughter's eardrum. And what always stuck out to me about that is that she didn't say sorry or act like regretful at all. Like,
so why wasn't the net? As soon as he realized your eardrum was broken, and if he said you broke it, you must have told him that she had been pulling on it. Why he didn't go out and his first call was to the fucking police? Again, the shit that this generation got away with is criminal. And that's not hyperbole, that's not being metaphorical, that it is literally criminal. It is criminal what they got away with raising us. You did that now, should have been going in cuffs.
It's hard to explain, but that stood out to me. So I was always in pain. I was always withdrawing into my art, my ballet, my room. I was very creative. And then I overcompensated by being like the perfect student and teacher's pet and straight A kid. Just read a lot of books. Like, I really developed my own rich inner fantasy life.
And the problem with that is that will enrage the competitive borderline even more.
To help me cope with the pain. And then the last thing is, well, there's a lot that happened. Like, I'll just put it this way, okay? I had one half-sister taken away by the state. I had one.
Well, you should have been taken away from by the state when she broke your eardrum. So I guess eventually somebody stepped in and reported and reported your parents. Okay, but the doctor should have done that at the urgent care when your mother broke your goddamn eardrum.
One night, my dad and his next wife passed out drunk and passed out on top of my 18-month-old half-brother's body. Jesus. And they killed him.
Oh my God.
And then I have one half-sibling.
So you basically have to, Jesus Christ. This is why I say what this generation got away with is criminal. And now they all sit back and crying on the internet why they've been gone no contact with, worrying about and talking about dealing with their emotions and their feelings. Fuck your feelings. Again, not all baby boomers. If you weren't like this, I'm not talking about you. But I am talking to the majority of the generation that acted just like this.
Sibling currently in prison for attempted murder. He kidnapped his girlfriend and strangled her to get drug money.
Jesus.
Another half-sibling with an extensive criminal record, and then my half-sister was so depressed because they were all so abused and neglected that she ended up eating her way into her own death. She ate herself to death, died of obesity at age 24. So anyway, it's complicated, but a lot of stuff happened that all.
It's not complicated, Kristen. All your half siblings and yourself, okay, and the sibling that died, is all a result of your parents' abuse. All of it. All of it is a reaction to their abuse. And if any of those siblings could have figured out how to go no contact years ago or decades ago, however long ago this was, your sister might be alive. Your other siblings might not be on drugs, not have to be self-medicating with drugs. These are the things that these estranged parents won't tell you why they've been gone no contact with. These are the stories. You notice her detail? You notice Kristen's detail? You notice she's got stories, times, places, dates, events, what happened, who said it, and where, and what was done and what was not done. You notice that? You notice none of these estranged parents have any of this?
All had to do with these adults not teaching healthy boundaries to their kids and neglecting them, abusing them, and us having to be moms at such a young age. So that's kind of like, I guess, the summary of my childhood. So I'm going to end this now. I'll just say the last thing, because it's not even so much about my parents. It's about my bio sister. She used to play with me, and she would kind of dress feminine, but then it was weird. Around the age of when she was 11 or 12, she abruptly changed. She chopped off her hair, started wearing boy clothes, and started being very mean and very aggressive, and she turned into my bully almost overnight. And
sounds like she might have been sexually abused. Could be. Sounds like that is a possibility.
My dad did come into my room a few times and made me feel uncomfortable with the way he smelled drunk, and he would touch me weirdly. So I wonder if maybe he started abusing her in that way, and that's why she changed.
Yes. That is more than likely why. Yes.
Changed. She also had a weird softball coach and spent a lot of time with him. The guy creeped all of us out, and right around that time is when she chopped off her hair and called herself a boy and turned into a massive bully. So my sister, the one person.
Now, I don't know if the Mormon coach was part of, the softball coach was part of the whole Mormon thing, the Mormon community, but that is another common theme from my Mormon subscribers with the creepy coaches being covered up by the whole Mormon community. It all falls in line.
And that we went through all this together. My one and only full biological sibling has always bullied, belittled, gaslit, ignored me. So she was the golden child and I was the black sheep. So I think you have enough info now to get a good picture, and then I'll do a part 2 about what finally woke me up. Because before all of this happened with my sister, I had no idea what narcissistic abuse was. I had no idea about the structure of how narcissists operate and how they have a golden child and a black sheep. And my sister doing this thing to me in recent years is what triggered my entire journey into self-healing and to cut people out. So that's the background. And then I'll have a part 2. Hey Ollie, here's part 2. All right, so because I was an empath and heavily abused, I threw myself into school and art. And anyway, long story short, I mostly just kind of I would be cordial with people at family events, but every family event was just massively triggering, and I didn't even know the source of my constant gnawing inner pain. So to cope with that, I threw myself into developing an awesome career and building my family. I was lucky because I met my now husband of 20 years at an early age, and I know this kind of sounds weird, but he was the dad that I deserved but never had. He's just a good man, and I
that is a little weird. That is a little weird.
Credit him with he's literally saved my life. So, married to my soulmate. I have a master's degree. I am a very successful teacher. I've helped a lot of people. Like my principal at my work said that I have a cult following. It's just, I don't know. I get my joy in life from helping people. So I've developed this beautiful life. My husband and we have 3 beautiful kids, great careers, an amazing house. Like, it's like a Cinderella story. But keeping all that in mind, all this time that I was building something healthy on my own and just having minimal contact with these toxic people, I still felt weirdly connected to my biological sister. But she married.
Well, I think a part of that has to do with you both went through traumatic childhoods. And she's your only full-blooded sibling. So I think you'd be naturally drawn to have some kind of connection to her.
For money. She had a couple friends that seemed really lesbian, but in the Mormon culture, homosexuality is really repressed. I've always thought my sister's a lesbian, and all her friends were athletes that seemed lesbian to me also. She had this best friend that she'd had for 35 years. Like, it was a best friend. And when the best friend came out saying she had feelings about my sister immediately freaked out and threw her away. My sister's super religious. She married another Mormon young man, and they checked all the boxes. They seemed to be in a loveless marriage. It was cold. But because he was on his way to med school, it just seemed to me that she was playing the long game and she wanted money. That's all I even got from her. Like, she was very mean and distant to me anytime I saw her. She never asked me questions. She ignored everything about me. The one thing I could glean from all her mannerisms, all her stories, everything, it was all about money. It was always about money.
And that is a big theme within the Mormon community is money. It just is. I don't know if you're still Mormon or not. I'm not trying to I'm not shitting on all Mormons. There's plenty of good Mormons. But there are portions of the Mormon community that become very cult-like, very narcissistic. Narcissism runs rampant through Mormonism. It just does. Call it the Mormon Mafia.
And she's attractive, but she insists on dressing like a man. And I'm really feminine, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm more attractive than she is. Like, I'm beautiful, but I never knew I was, because I was so abused that I had no self-esteem. So she marries this Dr. Wannabe, and he's pretty toxic too. But anyway, they're married for like 20 years. My sister bullies me and belittles me this entire time. Treats me like I'm a joke. It's like, yeah, I'm the joke when I have a master's degree and such a beautiful life, and you didn't even graduate and you don't even have a job. Anyway, so I was just used to this. But then something changed. One day, we went out to lunch with my dad and his next girlfriend, and then my sister and the kids and
Preposterous. Just preposterous people.
Her kids, and her husband was not there. And I've never seen my sister cry. She always has that mean facade. But during this lunch, I saw her eyes well up with tears, and I was like, whoa, she never cries. She's always tough. She's always mean. Like, so I called her, and she had this weird, like, drawn out explanation that her husband was having an emotional affair and things weren't good and they're probably gonna get divorced. And this was shocking because I've never even seen any kind of emotion out of her. And my mistake is that once she started like crying to me, that's when the narcissistic abuse and the brainwashing began. Because in my mind, which was like, I loved her, I was like, oh, she's finally opening up to me. Maybe she loves me now.
No, she's hoovering you in. She's setting you up for something else.
And so basically, I turned into my sister's emotional support over the period of almost 5 years with this drawn-out divorce.
Right. You became her emotional douchebag, which is all she wanted. She just wanted to dump all her problems on you until you're all used up or until everything is resolved, and then move on. And I promise you, if you ever tried to talk to her about anything, any of your problems, in one ear and out the other, change the subject quickly, back to a focus on herself.
And she brainwashed me. She made me want to hate her ex that she was divorcing. She made me almost histrionic, like, about her situation. We were texting daily, calling daily, and my parents were like, whoa, this is weird. You guys have never been close. Where's this coming from? It's almost like I took this as a badge of honor because my sister, during her divorce, she didn't open up to my parents, and I can tell that irked them. She opened up to me. I thought we were finally friends.
Right, because her parents are the ones who screwed her up. That's why she does what she does. What she did was, because you're feminine and obviously she's been jealous of you her entire life, she now turns you into her emotional douchebag.
Finally likes and respects me. But every time I would tell her, like, I know you're going through a hard time in a divorce, but I just want you to know, like, there's been some good that's come of all this, and I finally feel close to you. I finally feel like we love each other. And I notice now, when I would say stuff like that, she'd never say it back.
Right.
It was all about her. So this goes on for a period of years, and we moved to Poland for 5 years, which was super cool. We had this amazing life-changing experience. But I remember
Yeah, Poland's beautiful. Poland is a beautiful country. I've never been there, but I've seen the pictures. I see the architecture and the buildings. It's absolutely a gorgeous place, especially around Christmas time.
Called me and she was like, well, we want to come out there and visit you guys in Poland, just to, like, say that we did it and just get it over with and, like, take a picture. And then I just want to go to Austria and then all these places, like.
Right, and that's only a con to say. So you can't say you have an experience that she doesn't. That is just straight competition why she wants to go out there and then go to Austria to try to maybe one-up you. And I don't know if you've been to Austria or not. Maybe you have. I mean, it is pretty easy, I know, to go from country to country in EU, European Union countries.
She triangulates. She's a master manipulator. She pretended to be emotionally close to me as she was brainwashing me. It's hard to explain. Well, anyone who's gone through this kind of abuse understands it. But anyway, one night
Look, she was able to clue in for a very long time how badly you probably wanted a relationship with her. How badly you wanted to, have a loving, sisterly relationship with her. And she used that to turn you into her emotional douchebag. Just somebody she can just dump all of her bullshit on and then just abandon once that douchebag gets full.
my mom went through my phone. This was in Poland. My mom was in Poland for a visit, and she seemed generally, like, befuddled that my sister, who had, my mom knows, like, she won't admit it, but she knows, like, my sister's my lifelong abuser. She's a bully. And my mom always seemed to, like, it made her self-esteem go down to see the golden child leaning on the black sheep. Like, I can tell it rubbed her the wrong way that my sister was, like, opening to me and not her. So my mom went through my phone and saw some messages from me and my sister going back and forth saying my mom's so difficult to live with, because she is. But
if you're the golden child, okay, here's what you got to keep in mind, okay? Your sister was the tool of your abuser. Your real abusers were your mother and father and stepmothers. Your sister didn't break your eardrum. Your mother did that. And if you're the golden child, and as an adult, your mother has no boundary on you that she will go through your phone, imagine what she put your sister through. And I'm not excusing any of your sister's behavior or anything she's doing, okay? But be mad at who created your sister. Okay? Be madder don't be more mad at your sister than the person who created her. That's key.
the thing is I never would talk shit about family members. I never gossiped. Like, my intentions were always pure, but my sister corrupted me, because that's all she did was gossip about people and triangulate and turn this person against this person. Like, she was this master manipulator. And I did say something kind of rude towards my mom, like, yeah, she's a nuisance, because my mom has antisocial traits. It's
Right. Your mom's antisocial. Who did your sister learn all that from? She learned it from your mother.
true, but my mom went through my phone and saw me and my sister bashing her, and I was only bashing her because I was brainwashed. So my mom, like,
Listen, that's Kristen. You have every right to bash your mother. You have your own experiences with her. She broke your goddamn eardrum. Like, there's plenty of things to bash your mother over. Who you should have been mad at, like, how dare you go through my phone? How dare you? It's no different than if your mother was reading your diary. It's a violation. It's a violation of your privacy, of your boundaries, of your adulthood, of your womanhood, of everything. If I want to vent to my sister about you, that's my goddamn business, not hers.
freaked out and just abruptly left Poland and didn't even say goodbye.
Good.
So then I profusely apologized, and I took all the guilt of that situation onto myself, and my sister didn't care. Like, she had to have just been, like, smirking in the background. She loved it. And
This is why they all need to be cut out, Kristen. This is why you got to cut all of them out, because they're all toxic. All of them.
anyway, so then she gets divorced. She comes to me and says, oh, sister, my ex-husband's going after me for all my money. He's going for 100% custody of the kids. Help me. She had this, like, she needed a savior, and I was her savior. So she was like, can you please just write a letter to the courts saying that I'm a good mom and that my ex is a bad dad? And I was so stupid and so naive that I did it. And even as I wrote the letter, I knew it wasn't true, because I'd seen her ex with his kids, and he was a good dad. Long story short, my sister lied. She was actually going after him for 100% custody. She weaponized her kids. And twist in the plot is that all of a sudden it clicked for me that she was an abuser, and then I flipped. I started talking to her ex. I started getting more information. I started to, like, think about things more logically. And then I was like, holy crap, I saw the court documents. She lied. She said that he was pursuing 100% custody. Help me. Actually, she was the one doing that. She was the one trying to rip away this nice dad, this good dad, from his kids. So everything she said to me was a lie. And when I figured out that it was a lie, I retracted my letter that helped her case. Not that it did anything, because the family courts are so biased, but...
No shit. No shit. Believe me, I know. And I'm glad you tried. This is why you can't get involved. There's two sides to every story. There's two sides to every story, and then there's the truth.
In a weird twist of fate, I became friends with her ex and, like, got the bigger picture. And now, combined with, like, the Johnny Depp stuff, like, I'm on this mission to expose how biased the family courts are against men. But what triggered all this? It seems so silly, but it's actually pretty traumatic. So the longer that time went by and we moved back to the US, and just kind of, like, I focused on my own goals. Like, my sister and I kind of, like, we weren't like BFFs like we were during the divorce. So I pulled away, and that seemed to really threaten her. Like,
you were never BFFs with her. You were being used. That's it.
she kept, like, trying to get me to go camping with them, and I don't want to camp. I really don't want to go on trips with her. Like, she's annoying to go on trips with. So I was like, no, I'm good, because I had this newly developed, like, self-esteem. And she was like, well, we were the only ones out of all the family to come visit you in Poland as a mom. Like, she would triangulate, she would leverage stuff. She's just a master manipulator. So her and I just got more and more distant. There was more and more tension building. The more, like, I watched videos about narcissistic abuse and tried to self-heal, the more I saw through her. It was all a facade. that's kind of why I withdrew, because I didn't know about narcissism, but I knew something wasn't quite right. So I just kind of withdrew, protected myself, and focused on my family. One day, out of nowhere, she texts me and my dad and that one brother that's in prison now, "I'm engaged." And she just showed her ring, and she didn't even include my husband in the text, which really hurt him because he's done a lot for her. She was just fake and all weird. And oh, of course, it's a doctor again. She's never worked. She's always like craved this like billionaire lifestyle. So of course, her next victim is this rich doctor that acts very feminine and very weak. But it was weird how she just like told us out of nowhere, like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting married." So me and my husband were like, "What the heck?" It was weird. And then we kind of distanced ourselves further, and then out of nowhere, so it's Thanksgiving, and we're all hanging out, and then my husband Sterling wanted to ask Steph, like, "What are your wedding plans?" And the weird thing is she grabbed him, and she was like, "Shush, shush, shush, shush." And then a little bit later, I asked about her wedding plans. She grabbed me and took me into this corner of her house and was like, "Shush, shush, shush, be quiet, be quiet."
Oh, she make it all up. She buy her own ring. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, we're gonna like go to Italy and get married, and we're just gonna bring our kids and our parents, and that's it. Isn't that a cool plan? Thinking she still had power over me, but now I'm more independent and healthy, and I'm just like, wait, what? I'm not invited? And I laughed as I had tears in my eyes. I said, "But I thought I was your best friend. I thought I helped you through your last divorce." And she just laughed, and she's like, "Oh, Chris, your second wedding's not like your first. You don't get it." Like, she was my bridesmaid and I was hers, or maid of honor, I mean. So it broke my heart. I was just like, seriously? I asked her, "Can I pay for my own ticket so I can come? I want to be there to support you." Long story short, because I was upset about not being invited to her wedding, she went to war on me. So it turned into this nasty, nasty text fight where she was like, "You're so selfish. You're making my wedding about you." And I was like, it's not even about me being there. It's just the way you told me I wasn't invited to your wedding and then you laughed. Like how cold you were, how callous you were after everything I've done to help you. That's what I'm mad about. But she kept twisting my words and saying, "No, you're just jealous of me. Oh, you're just jealous because you want to go to Italy." It's like, I'm a world traveler. I can go to Italy when I want. I've already been there many times. Like, it's not about the vacation. It's about like wanting to support you. And the more I was just like, I just want to know that you care if I'm missing.
What you don't realize is she's doing you a favor. I mean, if she's actually getting married, if this isn't all a farce, she's doing you a favor. She's doing you a favor. But I understand where you're coming from. You're desperate for this woman, for this girl to love you. And she never will. And she never has. She sees you as a pawn, as a tool, to be thrown away or put away and then taken back out at her convenience.
From your big day. The more I tried to use these like tender arguments, the more callous she got. So then she started name calling me. She started saying, "You're a crybaby." It was really aggressive, and it was spread out over a period of weeks, and it was honestly like the darkest weeks of my life. Like, her texts still trigger me, the thought of her texts. Like, she's a scary monster. So
right, because she never progressed mentally past 11 years old. From that time that she started dressing like a boy and got really aggressive. Okay, and you were the main target of all her bullshit.
I told her, I kept trying to like try all these different strategies, but you can't fight with a narcissist. It's like impossible.
Right. The harder you try with these people, the more they're going to reject you. The only thing you can do is to cut them out and never look back again.
All they do is gaslight you. So finally I said, Steph, if you don't stop calling me names and bullying me, I will cut you and block you. And then she called me crybaby again, so I cut her out and blocked her. But then she goes to war immediately on my reputation and tries to convince everyone in the family that I went crazy and that Chris is abusing me, and she's sending all these mean messages. Like, she flipped everything around. So basically, I went no contact, and she's been like behind the scenes brainwashing my parents into like hating me.
Who cares? They deserve each other. You're trying to gain the love of sociopathic, borderline personality disordered narcissists. They deserve each other. You're better than them. Act like it.
So I think, anyway, it's kind of, yeah, a very similar story to what you've had on your channel, but in this case, I guess the difference is that, I don't know, people who enable abuse are like way worse than the abuser. It's like, you claim to love me, but you're cool just letting someone abuse me.
Because, and this is the hard pill to swallow, Kristen, they never loved you. They don't love anybody but themselves. And here they have this one daughter that is so desperate to be loved by everyone. She puts up with everybody's fucking abuse. The only way you win is not to play the game. She can only destroy your relationship. She can only badmouth you to other narcissists, to other abusers, to a woman who broke your eardrum as a child, to a guy who's gone through how many stepmothers, raised drug addicts, killed a child, smothered a child to death. Why would you care about the opinions of these people? Why? This is what needs to stop. Because you're going to continue to torture yourself if you don't.
That's way worse. I get it. My sister's brain is broken. She's got a mental disorder. That part I can understand. But the part I can't understand is my mom and dad just letting her treat me like this. So, 3 years later, we're thriving. We have an awesome, life as our little family. And things are going well. But I cut her out. And now it's just awkward. And I told my parents, I'm going to therapy to heal from this. And what's hurtful is they just kind of brush that under the rug, and they never talk about that. They never asked me about anything, and they basically chose my sister's side.
What is the purpose of keeping a relationship with your parents? What? You're only torturing yourself. Your parents created her. They taught her everything she knows. So why would you keep them in your life at all? What benefit do you get by keeping these people in your life? None.
So it's killing me to allow them to have access to my kids, because I am a good person and I want my kids to have contact with their grandparents.
Why? They're obviously bad people. Why? Why would you want that? Because of the Mormonism? The religion, that whole thing, because you've been abused and you can't see it. They all need to go, all of them.
But I literally hate my parents. I hate them. My skin crawls. To me, the enablers that just do nothing are way worse.
Yeah.
So for context, here's me and my cute family in Poland, and then the reason I'm showing you this is I would love for you to do a photo analysis of my sister, my lifelong abuser, because I just want to know your thoughts. That's her.
Dead eyes. Dead eyes. Just dead eyes. You can just see it in her face. Dead eyes. Woman you don't want to get on her bad side.
It's like a spider saying, "Look what I got, my next doctor."
Yep.
Anyway.
She's more concerned. See, she's surveying the room. She's watching who's watching her. Because with a narcissist, that's the opinions that matter. Not the opinions of their loved ones and their family. The opinions of strangers and casual friends. That's where they get their supply from.
Sorry this was kind of long, but thanks for all the work you do, and that's my story. Thanks. Bye.
Kristen, nothing's going to change until you cut them all out of your life. All of them. Because as bad as your sister is, as abusive as your sister is, they created her. They enable her. And they probably encourage the behavior as well. You said yourself, your parents make your skin crawl. You hate them. So what is the point? Preposterous people. The boomers live preposterous lives. The only way you win is not to play the game. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much for the contribution and the story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to subscribe to both my channels on Rumble. Follow me on Twitter and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.